Hello, everyone. My name is John Michael, and today I'll be speaking to you in my role as a public sector consultant. Today we'll be speaking about our community and how we can relate what we're trying to do with what was known as the Beyond Yellow Ribbon program, which was a program started by the Minnesota Air National Guard in order to help with the reintegration of deployed service men and women returning from service in the Iraq and Afghan wars. It was also designed to help out the families of those servicemen and women with the difficulties surrounding coming home from a long deployment overseas. Some of you might have fears regarding the public sector contracting work or how do you build a nonprofit government collaboration. I'm here to help quash some of those fears. Building off the work of Cohen, among others, I found numerous ways to gain trust in this process. First off, you should always be in direct communication with your public sector bosses. You should be fully aware of the purpose of the contract and understand it was written by a person or persons who are familiar with contracting or contract law in general. And finally, everyone who will be directly related or in contact with the program will only abide by the highest ethical standards. We have nothing to hide here and hope that you will trust us in the process of helping reintegrate servicemen and women back into our community. Those of you in the audience might be wondering who we are going to be working with. My company has found numerous groups that we're going to try to help use to build this initiative. It should be noted that in the case of returning servicemen and women, that they do have higher rates of what is known as post-traumatic stress disorder, or a PTSD. The damaging consequences of PTSD can be helped by the VA, but the VA is limited in its ability to help out the family members of those with this terrible mental condition. First off, we're going to try to reach out and work with local self-help groups. These groups will have more experience in helping out those who either the VA has missed or will definitely have help in helping out their family members. Also, some veterans might just be more comfortable not being involved or in a government building to get that kind of help they so desperately need. This is necessary because research has shown that those with PTSD have higher rates of drug and alcohol abuse than those in the general public. So this is of the utmost importance. Secondly, we'd like to work with certain job placement organizations within the community. While the government has promoted its own hiring of servicemen and women first, and contracts are usually awarded on a veterans first basis, local businesses will be limited by the law with their ability to be veterans first companies. Finally, we'd like to speak with us all local government and non-governmental organizations in general, not only to get out the effects and warning signs of PTSD, but also to show that veterans are able to perform many high demanding and highly skilled and technical jobs that someone in just a regular sector might not be able to achieve. It should be our hope that by getting the word out on PTSD warning signs and treatment providers for service members and their families, that the reintegration process will be a better process for not only our veterans, but also for our community. We're going to try reaching out through technological means. Technology has definitely changed the way we deal and interact in our daily lives. It enables us to engage the citizenry and our returning servicemen and women in new and unique ways. This does not mean that we will only have a technological approach to outreach. Research has shown that most organizations now rely on both the traditional infrastructure and information infrastructure. So we're all aware of billboards and flyers. So I will now introduce you to our technological approach. First off, the use of social media. You use it, I use it. The ones we are trying to help use it. We're looking for local businesses, support groups to get out there and use it daily. Put out employment ads knowing that your company might be veteran owned. This help creates like a sense of safety for our returning veterans. Maybe you can note certain veteran discount days, things such as that nature. While many returning servicemen and women might have had access to the internet while deployed overseas, such as on a daily basis we have here, they'll be using it daily soon enough. So, also their family members use it. So we hope that all group members under this umbrella will be using it to get the word out. Secondly, we're going to be developing a general web portal for all the organizations involved in this initiative. This will enable us to keep an open line of communication and have an easy place to go for all the nonprofit and governmental organizations we'll be dealing with. Just enable to track us the performance of the program, utilizing hopefully an evaluation system. Finally, we're developing a public website for more general information on PTSD, local events going on, employment opportunities, and services that the VA may not be able to provide, and other things in general. This will enable us to keep it in the public eye and be open, honest, and transparent. It is also important to know with this whole thing that noting the work of Van Thiel and Leo that public services are not only about efficiency and effectiveness. We should also understand that we need to be held accountable for our failures. The main goal here is to help veterans reintegrate. It should not be about self-promotion or the profit motive. Now there are going to be certain difficulties that arise between this initiative, between nonprofits and the state and the federal government. A lot of these were learned from the Beyond Yellow Ribbon program, and I'll share some of these today. First off, since we're working with the government, certain restrictions will apply. We will not be able to do certain things that our private sector counterparts would be able to do. We will need to understand that, as was learned in Minnesota, that the military cannot directly lobby the government for more funds or more promotion for an initiative. So that's certainly going to be a limitation. Secondly, we're going to be limited in general by how the government-nonprofit relationship works. Studies have shown that most nonprofits have problems with the government in regards of changing contracts midstream, failure to pay the full cost, and a general sense of complexity while dealing with the paperwork and the application process. Finally, we should also note that certain policy changes in the state and federal government may take place at any time, and that completely changes our scenario. New politicians may come in. There could be a redeployment of certain members of our community who are just reintegrated. We should also note that at any time our relationship could be severed and we may need to seek additional funds from other sources. To mitigate these challenges, the work of Cohen and others offers some solutions, but this isn't a full list. For example, constant communication is going to be key. By keeping this line of communication open, we should be able to demonstrate our program's effectiveness and mitigate the likelihood of any termination. This line of communication should also be considered truthful. Let it be known what the results are. Bad information or disguised information come across as not only unethical, but also may result in certain legal things such as criminal prosecution. Also, we should note that there are limits that exist in these kind of relationships. No plan will be perfectly executed and ran perfectly smoothly. Changes need to be made throughout the process. Contracts change, deadlines change, goals change, and the law changes. It is important to have flexibility in any partnership and definitely stay dynamic. Finally, all organizations should be well thought out and have a balanced strategic plan that not only incorporates the items mentioned, but also notes certain restrictions that the organization might have, dealing with limited resources, for example. We need to understand where cuts need to be made and when they need to be made. So such budgetary things that exist in the nonprofit and governmental sector that don't exist with our private sector contemporaries. We should also have a clear vision of what we're trying to do here, and we need to let that vision be known. With all this building of successful nonprofit and government relationship might sound like a difficult task. It shouldn't be if we all stay focused and remember that the main goal here is help veterans reintegrate in our community, and then we will accomplish our goals. Thanks.